I would like to start with the question, what do you do? How do you engage the youth? What meaning does the youth have, especially when it comes to the European integration of Albania?
So, hi everybody. I think I should hold this in this way, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So welcome to Albania and welcome to our offices of the National Youth Congress of Albania. It's a pleasure to have you here. I run the policies of the National Youth Congress, and I can tell that our work and our engagement for the last decade since the creation of the National Youth Congress of Albania has been to pass policies to engage young people, to raise the capacities of young people, and to create dialogue with all actors that are involved in realizing better conditions for young people in Albania towards meeting the requirements for EU accession. And the work that we've been doing at larger number throughout 2022 and for the first months of 2023 has been to address the issues and the needs of young people in Albania, and to develop programs that engage youngsters meaningfully and create economical development and capacities for young people to have themselves participate in decision-making processes and in the processing of accession talks for EU negotiation with our young people and with the institutional actors.
Is it difficult nowadays to work with young people?
Maybe I can start from there. Well, yes, it is getting more and more difficult, and it is getting difficult for various number of reasons. If I look at the perspectives of what happened in the last 20 years and how civil society has developed in Albania and what Albania has faced during these phases, considering here a few milestones, let's say, that have empowered the society. There I mention here from the moment of when Albania entered the Schengen zone and our young people had more possibility for mobility, the European Union programs such as Erasmus, European Solidarity Corps, IPA funding and so on that started to support the country, which for sure give a fresh air of breath to the civil society and support. But on the other side, in the recent 10 years, like all over the region and also in the Western Balkans, we face a lot of brain drain. We face nowadays loss of our young people. And we also were touched by the economical crisis in the last few years, coming specifically after the pandemic. So here comes the difficulty then to working with young people in the country nowadays. If you look at it from one perspective, there is more opportunities, there is more possibilities, and there is also more expertise and experience gained in these regards. Also, if we look at the National Youth Congress, it's nowadays 10 years old, so for sure we feel more suitable into being able to tackle processes and topics that were maybe difficult before. But on the other side, with new developments in the whole global society, with technology, with a post-pandemic crisis, with the economical crisis, with a war happening very close to us in Europe as well, difficulties are still there. It is challenging, I would say, to still address issues of concern. It is challenges to reach out to young people from marginalized target groups. It is challenging to be able to support everyone in need to that regards. It is challenging to pick up the policies, translate them to the level of the not only civil society, but citizen society as well. Challenging for us does not only mean that it is undoable. We continue doing what the mission of a youth network is, but yes, the difficulties are persistent. Also for the fact that generations of young people change a lot. So the generation of today we work with, it's not the same with the one I was working with 20 years ago, for example. So the needs and everything do present the new challenges.
Maybe just to touch upon when you talked about generations, what I wanted to ask is, what are the main takeaways from your projects that you organized and that you have done with the young people in Albania? What are the main impressions or the main takeaways, especially maybe when we focus on things which are important for the EU integration?
I will say three main things from the last year, from my perspective. My colleagues can for sure add. with Tirana European Youth Capital title that we were running last year, being the biggest macro program as recent, because in the network we do a lot of other projects as well. But following last year and a half, I would say takeaway is that young people have a lot of capacity and a lot of ideas. They simply need more trust and more support. Cooperation in a cross-stakeholder approach is possible. It only needs goodwill from all the sides to do as well. Supporting innovative ideas and also supporting needs of young people, because the program was built on their needs and it was built by them. It is also very possible, together with all these challenges aside. But I would say these three things we learned, implementing it with all the challenges and also little mistakes that we did within. This is the takeaways, I would say, generalize, in brackets for me, what we took from last year's work.
And if I can add something, I would say the main takeaway from me, it was the example of the cooperation between all the stakeholders, the central level, the local level, with the civil society organizations, with the businesses. All the actors were involved in different projects for youth, and they were able to cooperate in a structured dialogue. And I think for all of us, this is a very strong takeaway and the message that we want to give, that through cooperation you can achieve everything.
Last but not least, unfortunately, it's the last question. I would like to ask many more, but do you see the youngsters today in Albania, do you see them as the main future force for finally putting an end to the transition process in Albania and to the full implementation of those central democratic and other values which are much needed in Albania, but of course also in the region?
One of the main takeaways that we got from Tirana European Youth Capital was that the young people of Albania share the same values, share the same principles, and share the same ideas and mindset as young people all over Europe. One of the main programs that we had for Tirana European Youth Capital was Youth Are Europeans. And the activities that were held for that program proved that our youngsters are just as European as young people from Germany, from Italy, from Spain, or from other EU countries that are member already. And we would like to see young people being part of these processes more often, because they are the ones that truly share the same values. And we, as the National Youth Congress of Albania, became in 2022 part of the European Youth Forum, that we sometimes compare it to the accession of one country to the European Union. So it's the equivalent of the youth organization being part of this European entity, and it's the equivalent to a country being part of this other European entity, which is the European Union. And young people were able to do it before the institutions. And that's why we believe that young people have already the power to become part of this bigger family, because they share the same ideas and values with them.
Thank you very much. I thank you very much for this interview, and thank you for hosting us here.